Good morning. Today is lesson 5.6a, which is fitting a line to data. So data is just a bunch of pieces of information that are collected that make what's called a scatter plot. So if I collected everyone's shoe size and their height in the class, I could graph it using their shoe size on one side and their height on the other, and I'd have a bunch of random dots, but depending on how tall people are and how big their feet are. So that's what we're looking at today. These are called scatter plots. So right here, a scatter plot is a graph used to determine whether there is a relationship between paired data. Scatter plots can show trends in the data. So as you can see, someone put a line through this data, all of these dots. They were all plotted, and they thought, you know what? There could be a line that fits generally this data. So we call this the correlation. So another word for correlation is slope. So what type of slope or what type of correlation do they have here? Well, remember, we read slope from left to right. We would be walking uphill, so this is a positive correlation. This next one, they plotted all the points and noticed, hey, this line might fit all that data pretty closely. This would be a walking from left to right negative correlation, or a negative slope. And then this last one, they said, you know what, I can't really fit a line through this data because it's just one big circle of data. There's not a line that fits nicely through there. So we say this has no apparent relationship or no correlation. Oops, C-O-R-R. So those are our three types of correlation: positive, negative, and no correlation. So here it says, tell whether X and Y show a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or relatively no correlation. The easiest way to do this would be to circle all of our dots closely, and we can see that, you know what, they generally go in this direction. This line, I just put a line right through, some above and some below, generally fits the data. This is what we would say is a positive correlation. Because we would be going up from left to right. This middle one, if I was to circle the points here, there's not really a nice way to put a line through here. So this one we would say is no correlation. And then the last one, if I was to circle these dots, oh, this one makes it nice and easy for us. These ones you could put a line through with some points above and some points below. Might go through a couple, that's okay. This is what we call a negative correlation, because it's going down. So if you notice me putting the lines through, like I said, there's some dots above. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 above, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 below. Try and make it as close as you can, fitting with the general theme of where the dots are plotted. It might go through a couple, like it might go through that one. That's fine. Okay? So now it says draw a line of best fit for the scatter plot. We're going to do that first. So I'm going to circle my points. And generally, I would use a straight edge to figure out where are some points above and some below, and put it right through the middle of that circle. If I put a line this way with some above and some below, that's great, but that doesn't fit with our data. So I put a line through, I drew a line of best fit, and now it says add 2 points to make a stronger correlation. If you're playing Red Rover and you're standing really close to each other, holding hands, you're going to be a lot stronger holding arms than if you're holding arms way far apart, right? So if you're here and your neighbor is over here, I'm really bad at drawing stick people, and you're holding really far apart, you're not going to be very strong. So strong correlation means you're really close together. So add 2 points that are really close to the line. So I'm going to add a point. Maybe this point was really close to the line. There's one below. And maybe, where else could I put a point? Maybe I'd add one right here. If you added a point that's up here maybe, right there, that's fine. They don't have to be within the circle. They could have been out here as long as it's close to the line. But you only needed to add 2. Now, draw a line of best fit for this scatter plot. So I'm going to circle my points. And then draw a line through with some points above and some points below. If you go through a couple, that's okay. Use a straight edge. We don't want a curve, we want a straight line. And now add 2 points to make a weaker correlation. So if you're weak, you're not going to be very close together. You're going to be like these two people, further apart. So add 2 points that are further from the line. That would make it a weaker. It's not very close to the line. Alright, now here's a line that's already drawn for us. It says approximate. Approximate again means getting close to the value of y. So figure out what is y when x equals 5. Well, first they ask us what's the correlation. I would be walking uphill, so this is a positive correlation. Whoa. And now what's y when x is 5? So on this line, I can figure out where x is 5. Here's my x-axis. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wherever I see the number 5, I'm going to follow that line up or down until I hit the point. Follow 5 until you hit the line. Could be up or could be down, okay? This first one, the line's up here, so we're going to go up. Oh, I hit the line. Wherever I hit the line, I'm going to follow it over to the y-axis because we want to find out what is y. Well, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, y is at almost exactly 2. If your line was a little bit up like mine is and you put 2.1, that's okay. But you only need one answer. These are both okay answers because we're approximating. It's not going to be exact. So taking a look at the next one here, our correlation, from left to right, we're going downhill, so this is a negative correlation. And then what is y when x is 5? So here's 5 here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, this one we're going to have to carry off of our graph a little bit because if I go down here, I'm not going to hit my line. So I'm going to extend my line out a little bit. Use a straight edge if you need to. This is -4, -5, -6, -7. So at -5, when I hit my line, I hit right about here. I'm between 5 and 6, -5 and -6. So I might be at like -5.5, 5.5. It might be at -6. You might be closer to -6. It all depends on how you draw your line there. So there are more than one answer. That is okay. You're approximating. You're getting close to the right answer as you can. All right. Next, we're going to do a little bit of a review, making a scatter plot first. Scatter plot, again, is all the data that we collected. Here's all our data. We're going to plot it. So first, we're going to make a scatter plot. Then we're going to draw our line of best fit. That's step 2. Then step 3, approximate the value of y, or figure out, get close to, what's y when x is 7 this time. So first, let's plot the points. Here is our x and our y axis, so we're going to plot these. This first point, x is -2, and you can write that right here. Y is -4, so x is -2 to the left. And then -4 is down 4. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's that point. If you want to number your lines, take a second to do that. Alright, so this was our first point we plotted. Our next point is -2, -3. So x is negative 2, and y is down 1, 2, 3. Now we have negative 1, negative 2. So negative 1 is to the left, negative 2 is down 2. Then I have 0, negative 1. So x is 0. We're not going left and right, just down 1, because y is negative 1. Then 1, comma 0. So x is 1. We didn't go up and down right there. We plotted that one. Then 1, comma 2. 1 to the right, up 2. And last, 2, 1. 2 to the right, up 1. So let's draw our line of best fit. If it helps you, draw a circle around your dots here. Oops, I'm getting a little bit farther away. Let me try that again. You don't have to be exact, just get near our dots. So there's a blob of dots there, and we're going to put our line through with some points above and some points below. Try and get some, like I said, above. Here's maybe 2, 3 above. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 below. And make sure you extend your line out. I didn't do a very good job there. Extend your line out. I'm going to make it go. There we go. Again, we're all going to draw our line a little bit differently, and that's okay. If you drew your line more like this, that's fine, okay? Like I said, we're going to have more than one line here. That would be an acceptable answer. So, we drew a line of best fit. It asks us here, what's the correlation? Well, from left to right, we're going up, so this is a positive correlation. What's going on? It's disappearing on me. There we go. Now we need to figure out what is y when x is 7. So here's x is 7 right here. I'm going to follow it to my line. It crosses right here, which if I follow that over is a little bit more than 7. Might be like 7.5, might be around 8. If your line was more this way, you might get a different answer. Your answer might only be like 4. And that's okay as long as it matches your graph. See how this one matches my graph? It matches at 7.5. If you put an answer of 4.5 and it matches your graph, that's fine. Alright, let's try one more just like this. If it helps, label x and y, and then I'm going to number my graph. And the negatives. And plot our points. So first, x is negative 4 and y is 7. So negative 4 to the left, and then positive 7 is up way at the top. Then at negative 3, we're up 5. Right there. Then at negative 2, 1, 2, we're up 6. Negative 2 again, but this time we're only up 3. 1, 2, 3. Then x is negative 1 and y is 4. Right there. 0, up 2, so we're not going left and right, just up 2 right there. And then 1, 1 right there. So if I circle my points, we need to draw a line through, a line of best fit, some points above and some points below. Make sure it goes all the way to the other side of your graph. Again, if your line is a little bit over here, that's fine. Maybe my line might be more like that. Goes through a couple, some above, some below. There we go. And then last, we need the correlation and what is y. So this one, from left to right, we're going downhill, so this is a negative correlation. And then what is y when x is, okay, this time x is only 5. So when x is 5 right here, we're going to follow it down to our line, not up because there's nothing up. Remember, we're not following it to a point, we're following it to the line. When we hit the line, then we turn and figure out what is y. Well, y is at -4. Yours might be more like -5 or -4.5. Might even be at -6. That's okay, as long as it matches your graph and I can see how you got your answer. All right, last two questions. Already plotted for us this time. That was nice. Just describe the correlation of the data first, and then, using the scatter plots, predict a reasonable test score for 4.5 hours of studying and for 8 hours of television watched. So first, let's describe the correlation. This one from left to right is going up, so we would call this a positive correlation. This one from left to right is going down. This is a negative correlation. And then, so if you look at these graphs, this is test scores and this is hours of study. So basically, this graph is showing you if you study for a lot more hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you study more hours, your test score is going to go up, right? So as your test scores increase, as your number of hours you study increases, your test score will also increase. But in the other graph here, the more hours you watch TV or on your phone or your iPad, your test score is going to go down. This is a negative correlation. It's going to go down. So they want us to predict what's a good test score if you study for 4.5 hours. Well, 4.5 is right here between 4 and 5. We need a line of best fit. I don't have one, so let's draw a line of best fit. Some points above, some points below. I'm going to do both while I'm at it. And I'm going to follow 4.5 right here, 4.5, up to my line. Not to a dot. I don't care about the dots. Only to the line. So 4.5 straight up would get me right about there. So follow it over. These go by tens. Between 70 and 80 would maybe be like 75. Maybe you said it's a little bit lower. Maybe it's only like 72. Okay? Maybe based on your line, it's more like 78. You need to pick one answer that fits your data. Same thing here, but now we're looking at what happens if you watch TV for 8 hours or on your phone or your iPad. So we're not following it to a dot, we're following this to the line. Okay, here's the line, and I'm going to go over to the left. Mine is right at about 60, maybe a little bit below, maybe it's only 59. It all depends on how you draw your line. So pick an answer that matches your graph, and we're done. Your homework, make sure you read it. These first ones, you're only writing whether the correlation is positive, negative, or no correlation. Then down here, they're asking you two things. To draw a line and approximate what's y when x is 3. Good luck.